Okay, today is still January 13th, 2023. Interesting. I sat and talked to one of my friends tonight, and I was telling him about the money disappearing and that they finally, left and they've stole over 300,000 from the case. And da 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 da. And he said, well, you know what? I know somebody that knows somebody that actually deals drugs. He said, and I've heard through them that they have said that it, how did he put it? For a shipment of drugs, it's 100 to 300,000. I said, well, they had a bunch of drug dealers show up down here and we're helping out in here. He said, well, they're probably here to get their money. He probably owed them money. And that's why they showed up here and helped till they got their money. Okay? That's why they were here. To make sure they got their money. He was in debt to them. I said, well, his daughter is crazy. I said, she bragged at the family church. I told him that she was a pea sweater girl, how she admitted watching me on the toilet, and I had flushed it, and I pushed my sleeve up, and I'm OCD, and I took my sweater off, washed my hands and arms. She showed up at Faith Family Church and said, don't sit by her. She has a pea sweater on. Well, I took the sweater off and washed my hands and arms. She was lying to people. But she admitted to watch me on the toilet. She admitted she had me raped. She will be marked as a sexual predator. Who watches somebody, breaks in and watches them under tape and audio in the bathroom? A sexual predator. Who watches, has somebody raped? A sexual predator. And then shows videos of it. That's where the agent that called me back will be labeled a sexual predator also. She's the one, she's so mentally ill. When I had talked to my one daughter-in-law, Dixie, she's like, well, Melissa, my one ex-daughter-in-law, lives in Maslin. She's remarried, and her kids go to Maslin School. They've been here for years. Okay, well, John had told me, my son, that was married to her, told me before we moved up there, when she moved out in May, that she had moved off somewhere else besides Louisville. She hadn't even lived here the whole time I was here. That crazy Michelle has a voice alternator app where you can alter your voice, trying to pretend she's those kids. We're going to get us money, right? And those kids are in Maslin. Oh my God. How loony she is. Okay? So, and then, well, we're going to do it. And they act like they're talking to Melissa and everything. And Melissa's clear in Maslin. Living her life, married, her kids go to a different school. It has nothing to do with this community. Had people act like they're going over her house and everything else. She's clear over in Maslin. She's 15 miles away. Unless they're going to be hiking it over there, it's 15 miles away, 10, 15 miles away. She has nothing to do with this. See, to show off for the call and for Auntie Shell, which I found out later, the big giggle was, that was the agent out of the area that called me back that bullied me, his daughter. And the retired Judge of Peace, probably granddad or great uncle. And from Portage County, and he was from Stark County FBI task force out of his area, grabbing my case off the hotline, which is highly illegal and not admissible, whatever they did before and da-da-da-da-da. That's why he badgered me in a false statement. That's why he told on me. I haven't even figured out why he told on me to Paymer. Dave's dating his daughter. Dave already knew I called the FBI. So why would he go to Paymer? To get more victims? That's why, he opened up the case. That's why he stole the money for himself, because he was in it with these drug dealers. That's where I was talking to my one friend, and he said, those drug dealers that showed up and helped out in this, he probably owed them money. And that's why they showed up down here and helped out to make sure they got their money. That's where Will's going to Will found out a way to make more money out of this case. He's going to sell the log, and that's where they sold it like a reality show. See, my one daughter-in-law, Melissa, to show off for the call and for Auntie Show and that agent, knowing that I'm in police protective custody, knowing that agent sold the login, and it's run like a reality show. Okay? and she was going to be on camera, the kids are going to be on camera, and that they got caught stating on Thanksgiving of 18 that they wanted, those little divas knew they were on camera. The only ones that didn't know they were on camera was, let's see, Danny and Jen and Dixie and Josh, because I called the FBI. The FBI had an agent call me back. The agent bullied me into a false statement, made me plead for my life, and then listed me an informant, and then opened up the protected custody case, and then threatened me again if I told anybody. Okay? He can't do any of that but list me an informant. It's highly illegal. He goes to jail for it. That's where the Tuscarora sheriffs, nobody can tell anybody. They cannot believe you. They have to follow through with what you said. They have to take your statement, and they can't tell anybody else not to believe you or not to help you. It's illegal, and you go to jail for it. That's where the other officer I had dinner with, that I sat and talked to him about everything, he said, if you don't take their statement, you don't follow through, they yell badgering, you automatically lose your badge, and then you can go to jail for obstruction of justice or tampering with evidence. I said, boy, is that a hot subject, because that's exactly what that agent did, is badger me and bully me, and he did it just to steal that money, because he was in it for these drug dealers. Because, yeah, that's where Melissa, my ex-daughter-in-law that just left my son the week before we moved up there, was in it with Dave's new girlfriend that he had just met up there within the first week. That was in it with drugs. And then by the time I called the FBI, September 27th, 18, on Thanksgiving of 18, those little divas knew that they were in there to say for Papa Will and Auntie Shell, for Papa Dave and Auntie Shell to get the house, for the house wasn't meant for Grandma, it was meant for Auntie Shell and Papa, and Grandma needs to get out, giggle, giggle, giggle. They knew that was for them to be on TV. They knew that in their little reality show. And that's where they knew when they got caught stating to Flora they were making everything up, them sick mean games of pretend, because they had already told them. I can give you a big long list. I've already done it a million times of all the people and places that know they're documenting mean games of pretend, and that they got caught. And then they sold them like reality, so everybody knows. This is like Man Can and Can't. If you didn't hear John's kids right on the third step up, Karen. Dave's girlfriend isn't Michelle. It's Michelle. Well, they also heard him in the basement stating they were making everything up. I can go from October 5th at Huntington Bank. They talk about her lying of 21 to, oh God, January 12th, 22, Sheriff John at the door, Walgreens, North Main, one of those kids get caught stating they made everything up. November 7th or 8th, 21, Walmart West House, they caught all the kids lying in 2018. Massillon police are documenting mean games of pretend. Stark County Sheriff said Kurt just found out those kids are lying. Hanslow, that was May of 21. I mean, I can keep going on and on and on. They're just mean jokes. She got corrected by the police really quick. The police head came up to me. We caught all the kids lying, da-da-da-da-da, and the rest of them spoke highly of you. They even mentioned it in front of my client last year around Christmas time in Massillon, Walgreens. Their family really did speak highly of her before. See, that's where that Canton officer, where Eric had left at them for falling for all their tapes before being altered and drugged, November 18, 22, Walmart 62, 2 to 6 p.m. by the hair salon. Screamed it out. There's a camera above him, and there's a camera inside the hair salon, okay? And they were all high as a kite. Where November 24, 22, I am in Mercy Medical. The nurse leaves my room, and there's a lady Canton officer walking around. More likely it's her or there's another Canton officer, lady Canton officer in there. And said, you know, we all heard that Eric made fun of us for falling for this. No one will say a word to her again. Well, the agent that bullied her into saying she was lying when she wasn't. Though I found out those men even ran experiments on her. Okay? And I found out that no one's even ever said anything bad about her before. And they need to realize how not funny this is, and she better not have permanent damage. And they're in there talking about the case. See, Canton's been all over this because January 1922, they told the Department of Disability I was drugged and told to say stuff before. And Canton knows me as an informant. They knew of the officers that were assigned to me, and they were at CSE Bank in 19 and 20. Lamar Sharp and Michael Broswell, the other Michael at CSE Bank in 19 and 20, knew the Canton officers that were in the back of the bank, assigned to my security duty, that were to follow me around and protect me. They want to make sure they weren't part of it because they let them in the back of the bank. Okay. But it's come down to, it was Michelle's family, where Dave hit me with the board and face, ran off to the store and met them. Then on the third day, on the sixth day, they kicked in my door. Then all of a sudden I'm waking up with giant bruises. I'm sick, I'm throwing up, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm almost passing out, and here they're in, breaking their date rape, drugging me, and they're stalking me. They're stalking me, and they're sexual predators. They're watching me on the toilet. They're watching me shower. They're sexual predators. Her and her dad, an agent out of the area, he's in it with drug dealers. And Dave offers him 25 grand to kill me, so he wants to see what else he can get. Well, they came up with the idea of scaring me into calling the FBI once I got everything done. And then he would open up the case and steal the money. But then I guess he came up with another idea to sell the login and run this like a reality show. And that's where those drug dealers that he owed showed up here and helped out until they got paid off, and then they left. This, where Melissa got corrected a long time ago, and it was wiped out. Okay, completely wiped out. Because even Flora said, my other granddaughter that was playing with him, of course it never happened. Of course it wasn't true. We made it up. They were games to pretend. Okay. Police already wiped it out. Everybody knows they're mean jokes. Okay. Well, she's way off in Maslin. Her kids are off there. She's remarried. She got corrected real quick. Okay? Real quick. My gosh, some of the investigators call them fucking lying dirty little bastards. They have called them fucking shit my family should be ashamed of. They didn't have anything nice to say about them around me. Okay? They don't even live here. They don't have anything to do with my community. And that crazy Michelle has been running around with voice-altering apps, acting like she's little kids trying to get money. Her mom's psychotic like her. Trying to say, oh, we're getting money. No, they're not. Then they try to lie on my youngest son, Danny, and try to say they were in it for some weird shower scene. They said they're stalking tapes before I called the FBI. And that they had photoshopped. They didn't know anything about it. What do you mean somebody was watching you? What do you mean they photoshopped a shower scene? Well, all those bruises I had? You were working too hard, right, Mom? I said, I was almost passing out and throwing up. Yeah. And I said, they were claiming they broke in and date rape drugged me and told me to say something stupid, and they were doing it all the time. What? We thought you were working too hard. I said, that's what I thought too, and I couldn't figure out why I was getting sick and why I was getting dizzy and almost passing out. I said, it doesn't happen now, and it didn't happen before. We thought you were just working too hard. It's like I work too hard now. I said, but remember those giant bruises everywhere on me? Yeah. You just bruise easy, right? I said, you get little tiny bruises, but you don't get orange, lemon size, and grapefruit size bruises everywhere. I said, they said they were beating me under. And that guy confessed that he was stalking me in Walmart. And me and your dad and da-da-da-da-da-da. See, they're sexual predators. And for them to show videos of me on the toilet, they're exploiting me. And that makes them sexual predators. The agent that called me back and his daughter and their friends, they make them sexual predators. They let me get raped and tortured between July and September 19 in protected home custody. And they sold videos of it. And Michelle, the young blonde girl at Faith Family Church, my dad's FBI, he works the case I date Dave. She was a peace sweater girl. She admitted she could have anybody raped. She thinks she's some kind of goddess. She was like an 18, 20-year-old kid, tops, a few years ago. And she's Will's daughter. And she's very, very mentally ill. She is a sexual predator, and so is her father. And they're in it with drugs. And she's very, very mentally ill. They're both sexual predators. They will stalk you. They will exploit your body of you being in the shower on the toilet for weirdos to watch you. They're exploiting me sexually. They are, and then to have me raped and showed videos of it. These people have laughed at me. And why is it funny? They act like it's an actual TV show, but they're just pretending when they're actually hurting me. And they're selling it. as a reality show. Because they're mentally ill. And they are sexual predators. And they are sexually exploiting me on the internet. They are not funny. I go to even my client's church at Trinity Gospel Temple. Look who's here. It's Karen's Will. The FBI informant's here. Same thing at Faith Family Church. The same thing at St. Mary's. The Woodlawn Church. You go up to Bedford. You go up to Streetsboro. You go to Hartville. You go to Youngstown. You go to Warren. Go to Camp. They keep selling it. Okay? And they're making money exploiting what they did to me to feed their drug habit. You know, my one daughter-in-law, during the case, she got so upset. She cried till she passed out, and she had a big gash on her chin. I lectured her. I said, you're not allowed to cry over what happened to me. It happened to me. And she's like stuttering. She's so upset about everything. I said, you're not allowed to cry over what happened to me. It happened to me. It didn't happen to you. They didn't do this to you. They did this to me. And you are not allowed to cry and be upset over what happened to me. It happened to me. It did not happen to you. It happened to me. And you're not allowed to cry and be upset. She's like, are you mad at me? I said, no, but you're not allowed to cry over what happened to me. And you're not allowed to be upset over what happened to me. She still gets very upset. She still gets overwhelmed because it's so horrifying on the levels of evilness of what she even knows I lived through. It freaks her out so bad she can't take it. That they would go this far to steal money. And that they are this mentally evil. Somebody needs to get down here. These people ought to be yelling police abuse. They should have been yelling, FBI, get down here from headquarters. This is really going on. They do that out of Terricoy Street, where my client lives. They've been out there yelling it on the phone. The neighbor on my client from Shepler Church Road, she was out there talking to police and investigators. I'm trying to get someone to fix this. Because they had it out there. You know, that agent will be profiled as a sexual predator, that he is having people stalked, photoshopped, naked scenes of them, and then photoshopped and exploit their bodies to make money off of it, selling police information, having people tortured, exploit them again, and then human trafficking them under drugs. He is the biggest sexual predator there is, and he is in it with drug dealers. Him and his daughter are sexual predators. They are evil and wicked. And these people, a lot of people do not find any of this funny. Once they found out the only thing that's going on is they're stealing from the case for themselves. And that's what all this is about. Nobody finds all this funny. I went with another friend up to the casino just to see what it was like. And I'll tell you what, I went in there and phones are going off. And I'm like, oh my God, no. Then I hear, that's the one that church tried to have killed. No, it's not funny why all of them helped out. They did it to line their pocket full of dirty theft money, embezzled money out of the witness protection program, that he opened that program to steal it and put it in his case, his own pocket. He embezzled over $300,000 to pay off drug dealers. He sold the locket and ran this like a reality show. He sexually exploited me on the internet from being everything from raped and tortured and sold videos of it to even children. He has, you talk about a sexual predator, watching me on the toilet, him and his daughter showing videos of it, photoshopping shower scenes of me washing in the other room is asinine. And then bragging they did it and for these people to fall for it. And then running their big scam, exploiting people on the internet sexually, and then human trafficking so he can supply his drug dealing. Yeah, and it's not hard to prove, because see, the whole thing of it is, I called the FBI. See, the whole thing of it is, I called the hotline. I lived in Portage County, and I Googled who's over Portage County. It's Akron. Do you know who picked it up? An FBI task force in Canton Courthouse. Huh? That's sort of not over his jurisdiction. I called the hotline. I lived in Portage County. I Googled who's over. It's Akron. So what would Stark County FBI task force in the courthouse in Canton even touch it? They shouldn't even known about it. But that was Michelle's dad. Yeah. And retired Judge Pete's grandpa or uncle. Dixie knew who Michelle was. John's kids called her Auntie Shell. She's tried to frame Melissa for all these crimes because she was stupid enough to have her kids do their little public debut on TV of his Papa Will's reality show, Giggle, 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 for Auntie Shell and Papa Dave to get the house. And we're going to make all this up and get caught stating it. The real big laugh is when she finds out what's going on, the man that was supposed to protect her is actually Auntie Shell's dad, and he's the one helping him get everything. That's not funny. They knew they were being recorded. Like I said, the police corrected Melissa in 18. And then they tried to get Danny and John arrested by saying they were helping out with the shower scene in the other room, and they knew nothing. Nothing. They lied that they were them. They lied they're Melissa. Melissa did have a cheap stunt done in 18, and she has been corrected several times and has nothing to do with us. She don't even live around here. This is Michelle pretending to be my other children. She's trying to get them locked up. She's trying to get Melissa and her kids locked up. She's probably trying to get John locked up, and I don't even know about that one. And I'll tell you what, and Joshy's had a hit on his family before. You know why they want rid of my family? Because Dave's worth $600,000 dead. And then if they had him date, raped, drugged, and signed a different will over, nobody would be there to contest it. And they can steal that $600,000 because that'll pay for 2 drug shipments. I found out that's how much it costs. That's why those drug dealers disappeared when they got their money. Someone needs to stop them. See, I called the hotline. That agent actually opened a witness protection program. That's where they talk about Karen's will or Karen around the house. That's where the Stark County Sheriffs are you interested in working Karen around the house. That's where Maslin Police officer got on his walkie-talkie March of 19. Tell Bruce I'll take care of Karen while she's in town. He was over the drug and gang unit. The Canal Fulton Police mentioned something. The North Canton Jackson Police, June of 19 at Liberty House Share. Stop the informants here. Let traffic go through. It was very kind of them. A lot of officers, because of everything I've lived through to save my family, are very kind and go out of their way to be good to me. And they don't have to. And trust me, it means a lot to my heart that they are actually extremely kind to me. I get very afraid of people because I've almost died to save my family. And I stutter. And it is very overwhelming. And it's horrifying at times. And I lived through a concentration camp from these people to make money off of it and to sell it like a reality show for them to be demons of hell. People need to be blowing up the FBI hotline. They need a Department of Justice, the Secret Service. Get someone down here and that agent out of his area and Michelle's family. They need to be arrested for selling police information and embezzling funds from the Witness Protection Program and then for all these other crimes. They can't do it. And they can't, I know the Department of Justice is busy, but this is an oh my God case. And the more people that call, it will stop them faster.